Good morning, everyone. It is a great honor and privilege to welcome you all to this international seminar on modern approaches to smart agriculture in changing environment, which is organized by Udyaniki Krishi Anusandhan Samiti, Lucknow. I would request to our chairman, Dr. Indrar Chaurasia ji, and honorable chief guest to lead the lamp. May the divine power blesses us all. I request you all to stand up in respect of our national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
For chairman speech of Dr. Indrar Chaurasia, Chairman Udyaniki Anusandhan Samiti, Lucknow, on behalf of his speech, Dr. Victor Dev Barma, Assistant Professor, Shuat Prayagraj, will deliver lecture.
A very good morning to one and all. It is indeed fortunate and opportunity to speak on behalf of Dr. Indrar Kumar Chaurasia sir, Chairman Udyaniki Krishi Anusandhan Samiti. The seminar theme on modern approaches to smart agriculture in changing environment, which is the prime concern in modern agriculture for productivity and sustainability. Environmental change is a natural process, but the recent trends related to environmental change are alarming, mainly due to anthropogenic regions. Environmental change has already affected human life, people's, animals, ecosystems, and presents to great development challenge for the global community in general and for the poor people in developing countries in particular. Clear impact from environmental change are being witnessed in agriculture. Impacts are both positive as well as negative. They are, however, dependent on latitude, altitude, and type of crops. There have been noticeable impact on plant production, insect diseases, and with dynamic soil properties and biological compositions in farming systems. According to Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change 2007, a temperature change in tropical areas has in general had a negative impact on food production, and it is estimated that food productions within South Asia will decrease by about 30% by 2050. Indian agriculture is highly prone to the risks due to climate change, especially to drought, because 2/3 of the agricultural land in India is rain-fed, and even the integrated system is dependent on monsoon rains. Flood is also a major problem in many parts of the country, especially in eastern part where frequent flood events takes place. In addition, frost in northwest, heat waves in central and northern parts, and cyclone in eastern coastal also cause havoc. In recent years, the frequency of these climate extremes are getting more due to the increased atmospheric temperature, resulting in increased risks with substantial loss of agricultural production. Climate change can affect agriculture through their direct and indirect effects on the crops, soil, livestock, and pests. Increase in atmospheric carbon dioxide has a fertilization effect on crops with C3 photosynthesis pathway and thus promotes their growth and productivity. Increase in temperature can reduce crop durations, increase crop respiration rates, alter photosynthesis process, affect the survival and distributions of pest populations, thus developing new equilibrium between crops and pests. Hastens nutrients mineralizations in soil, decrease fertilizer use efficiency, and increase in evapotranspirations. Climate change also have considerable direct effect on agricultural land use in India due to availability of irrigation water, frequency and intensity of inter and intra-seasonal droughts and floods. Soil organic matter transformations, soil regions changes in pest profiles, decline in arable areas due to submerged and coastal lands availability of energy. And some key governmental initiative on climate smart agriculture. National Innovations in Climate Resilient Agriculture, National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture, National Adaptation Funds for Climate Change, Smart Climate Change, Soil Health Card, Biotech Kissans, Neem Coated Urea. So therefore, I hereby request to all the delegates and participants present here to ponder carefully on the discussions on current issues in agriculture to make this modern agriculture into a better position for long-term sustainability. Thank you.
Now we request our dignitaries to release souvenir of seminar.
बदलते हुए पर्यावरण में सुव्यवस्थित कृषि हेतु आधुनिक पद्धतियों पर अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सेमिनार के अवसर पर यहाँ पर उपस्थित इस कार्यक्रम के संयोजक डॉक्टर इंद्र कुमार चौरसिया जी, सूर्य प्रताप, उपस्थित सभी महानुभाव, हम सब जानते हैं कि आज G20 का जो सम्मेलन दिल्ली में हो रहा है, उसमें भी एक चिंता व्यक्त की गई, एक कॉमन सहमति आपस में आई और वो सहमत थी कि जो जलवायु परिवर्तन है उसके संबंध में सभी देश मिलकर काम करें। भारतवर्ष में भी ये जो व्यवस्था है कि आज खेती के दशाओं में परिवर्तन हुआ है, आज उपज कैसे अच्छी हो सके इसमें आधुनिक तकनीकों का बहुत अधिक प्रयोग हुआ है। लेकिन आधुनिक तकनीक का प्रयोग के वजह से जहां एक तरफ लाभ हुआ है वहीं कुछ नुकसान भी हुए हैं और नुकसान सबसे बड़ा तो स्वास्थ्य पर विपरीत प्रभाव भी पड़ा है। विभिन्न प्रकार के रसायन, विभिन्न प्रकार के केमिकल्स जब छिड़काव में होते हैं फसलों में तो वो उनका कोई ना कोई अंश उस फसलों में मिलकर व्यक्ति के शरीर में चला जाता है और स्वास्थ्य संबंधी तमाम व्याधियों से वो ग्रस्त हो जाता है। ऐसे समय फिर एक प्रश्न उठता है, क्या हमने आधुनिक तकनीकों के अपनाने से ऐसा तो नहीं हमने अपनी पुरानी व्यवस्थाओं को तिलांजलि दे दी? पुरानी व्यवस्थाओं में खाद बनता था, गाय का गोबर होता था और तमाम प्रकार की प्राकृतिक चीजों से गांव की खेती होती थी। बैल ने जुताई करा और किसान ने मेहनत किया और फसल उगी। आज हम जैविक खेती के बारे में चर्चा करने लगते हैं, तब एक अजीब सा प्रश्न हमारे सामने आता है। ये व्यवस्थाएं तो पहले से हिंदुस्तान में थी, आज इनको हम क्यों करा रहे हैं? अभी अगर आप बजट देखें भारत सरकार का कृषि के संबंध में, जो नई एग्रीकल्चर पॉलिसी आई है, उसमें गंगा के किनारे जैविक खेती पर जोर दिया गया है और बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट उसमें दिया गया है कि गंगा के किनारे जैविक खेती पर जो जोर दिया गया है उसका मूल कारण क्या रहा? उसका मूल कारण यही था कि व्यक्ति के संबंध में जो स्वास्थ्य संबंधी शिकायतें हैं उनको हम प्राकृतिक अपने खाद्य पदार्थों के माध्यम से हम उनको दूर कर सकें। बुंदेलखंड में कई जगह आज जैविक खेती बहुत अच्छी तरीके से हो रही है। पहले क्या था कि हम आधारित होते थे कि पानी बरसेगा तो हमारी ये फसल अच्छी होगी, और हम तो गाँव का वो दृश्य अभी भी बचपन का मुझे याद आता है, जब पानी नहीं बरसता था और पता चलता था कि अर्धनग्न होके मर्द लोग या पुरुष लोग घर घर जाते थे और वहां की स्त्रियां उनके ऊपर घड़ों में भर भर कर पानी फेंकती थीं। ये शगुन के तौर पर होता था और वो चिल्लाते थे, कहते थे काले मेघा पानी दे गुड़ धानी दे। इसका मतलब था कि इस प्रकार से उनके आह्वान से इंद्र देवता प्रसन्न हो जाए और पानी की बरसात हो जाए, जिससे उनकी खेती हो जाए। आज क्या है? आज गांव-गांव बिजली पहुंच गई है, गांव-गांव आज ट्यूबवेल लग गए हैं, गांव-गांव आज सबमर्सिबल पंप लग गए हैं, और इन सारी व्यवस्थाओं के बीच में अब तो सरकार ने कह दिया हर घर नल की व्यवस्था ये भी शुरू कर दी है। यानी जिन साधनों के कारण कि गांव में तालाब होगा और तालाब में जो वर्षा का जल संचयन है वो हम करेंगे और उनके माध्यम से हम खेती करेंगे। वर्ष भर से हम काम चलाते थे। गांव में कुआं का जो शुद्ध पानी है जिसमें मिनरल्स होते थे वो पूरे गांव के लोग उसको पीते थे और स्वस्थ रहते थे, लंबी आयु को प्राप्त करते थे। आजकल क्या है, ये बोतल में बंद हुआ पानी, इसकी जो शक्ति होती है मिनरल्स, वो इसमें तमाम प्रकार के प्रावधानों को करने के बाद वो समाप्त हो जाती है। आज भी डॉक्टर्स कहेंगे कि जो समरसेबल का पानी है जमीन के अंदर वाला, वो ज़्यादा स्वास्थ्यवर्धक है। हमने प्राकृतिक साधनों के स्थान पर हमने आधुनिक साधनों को अपनाया, और आधुनिक साधनों को अपनाने के साथ उनकी तमाम प्रकार की जो अप्राकृतिक जो समस्याएं थीं, उन समस्याओं का सामना हमने करना प्रारंभ कर दिया। मैं समझता हूं कि जो आपका आज का विषय है कि बदलते हुए पर्यावरण में सुव्यवस्थित कृषि हेतु आधुनिक पद्धतियों पर, तो आधुनिक पद्धतियां हम अपनाएं, लेकिन हम प्राचीन पद्धतियों का समावेश उसमें करें, उनकी तिलांजलि ना दें। हमारे सामने मैं देखता हूं कि पहले एक निश्चित समय में ही पानी की बरसात होती थी। क्यों? हमारे पास वृक्ष थे और तमाम प्रकार के जो जिसको कहते हैं हरियाली हुआ करती थी। आज क्या है, जहां पर वृक्ष थे, जहां पर जंगल थे, उन जंगल के स्थान पर आज मकान बने हुए हैं। लोग हमसे, मैं महापौर था तो हमसे कहते थे कि साहब बंदरों का बहुत आतंक है, बड़ा परेशान करते हैं, मोहल्ले में आ जाते हैं। हमने कहा बंदर का आतंक नहीं है, आतंक तो आप सबका था। वो आपके वहां नहीं आते, आप उनके वहां पहुंच गए थे। जहां वो रहते थे उनको हमने पेड़ को काटा, और पेड़ काटने के बाद हमने अपने मकान बना लिए। अब वो कहां जाएंगे? ये हास्य बात लग सकती थी, लेकिन एक प्राकृतिक साधनों का जो विद्रोह हमने किया, उसकी जगह पे हमको मोबिलाइजेशन ऑफ नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज, हमको एक मोबिलाइज करना चाहिए था, उनका विद्रोह ठीक प्रकार से करना चाहिए था। अगर हम एक वृक्ष काट रहे हैं तो हमको इस जगह दूसरा वृक्ष लगाना चाहिए था। आज हम वृक्षारोपण अभियान चलाते हैं, आज तमाम प्रकार के हम अन्य वैकल्पिक साधनों को प्रयुक्त करने की कोशिश करते हैं। अभी प्रधानमंत्री जी ने मोटा अनाज के बारे में उसके लाभ बताए। अब लोग फैशन में अभी तक उसको अपनाया नहीं है, लेकिन बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट और बड़ा आधुनिक अगर कहीं फंक्शन हुआ तो लोग वही जो मिट्टी के प्याला, मिट्टी की कुंजी, उसका जो है पत्ते वाला जो दोना, उसमें रख के खाना मोटे अनाज का, कि बाजरा है, ज्वार है, वो सब चीज़ों को करके और उसका खाना खाएंगे, कहेंगे साहब आज ये मोटे अनाज का है। यानी अब वो इम्पोर्टेंट बन गया हमारे लिए। पहले हमने उसकी तिलांजलि दी। तमाम रोग नहीं होते थे इसको खाने से, तमाम प्रकार की बीमारियां अपने आप उस मोटे अनाज के माध्यम से दूर हो जाती थी। लेकिन हमने उसको सस्ता समझ के उसको तिलांजलि दे दी, और तिलांजलि देने के बाद आज हम उसको अपनाने लगते हैं तो उतनी उचित मात्रा में हमको दिखाई नहीं पड़ता। क्यों? क्योंकि विदेशी इसका आयात कर रहे हैं, यानी हमको उनका निर्यात करते हैं, और विदेशी उसका प्रयोग करके वो स्वस्थ रहते हैं, और हम दूसरी चीज़ों का, ये पिज़्ज़ा और ये कौन कौन सी चीज़ें नई नई आ गई, पेस्ट्री, इनका प्रयोग कर करके हम बीमारियों के चक्कर में पड़ जाते हैं। तो ये एक न केवल सेमिनार का मंतव्य है कि आपका पर्यावरण में जो कृषि के लिए आधुनिक पद्धतियों पर हम विचार करें, बल्कि हम आधुनिक पद्धतियों के साथ साथ हम अपनी प्राचीन पद्धतियों का उसमें समावेश करते हुए हम कैसे उसको संतुलित बना सकते हैं। हम आधुनिकता को अपनाएं, मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी को अपनाएं, लेकिन जो प्राचीन टेक्नोलॉजी थी उसके मूल तत्वों की संरचना को हम ध्यान रखें। कभी मैं सुनता था कि ये पेड़ नहीं, ये ऑक्सीजन का सिलेंडर है। तो ये ऑक्सीजन का सिलेंडर जो होता था वो आज लगाने के लिए हमको अभियान लगाना पड़ता है। तो मैं समझता हूँ कि एक प्रकृति के साथ जोड़ने का उपाय होना चाहिए। पहले तो हमारे पूर्वज लोग प्रकृति के साथ हमको जोड़ गए थे, लेकिन अब आधुनिक बन गए तो हमने वो सारी चीजें छोड़ दी। क्यों? यदि तो सनातनी ना कहला दें, हम वो ना कहला। पूछो कि पहले क्या था, ऑक्सीजन मिलता है पीपल से, तो हमने कहा कि पीपल को मत काटना, ये ब्रह्मदेव बाबा रहते हैं। पता चला तुलसी खा लो तो तमाम बीमारियां दूर हो जाएं। हम लोग कहते थे कि आंगन में अगर तुलसी लगा दें तो सुख शांति समृद्धि आ जाएगी। बरगद से ऑक्सीजन मिलता था। हम लोग कहते थे कि जो बरगद को के चारों तरफ जो डोरा बांधकर जो स्त्रियां फेरा लगाएंगी चारों तरफ, उनके पति का संरक्षण होगा। और उन्होंने कह दिया कि चूहे को मत मारो, ये गणेश भगवान की सवारी है। उन्होंने कहा कि नाग देवता, ये भगवान शंकर की सवारी है, उनको दूध पिलाओ। यानी लोग कहते थे कि क्या जो जान ले लेगा उसको दूध पिलाओ। ये भारत की कहाँ की संस्कृति है? हम लोग कहते थे मानव का कल्याण हो, प्राणियों में सद्भावना हो। अब प्राणियों में सद्भावना, प्राणी मनुष्य भी, जानवर की भी, जल जंगल और जमीन का एक समावेश था, और हमने इसको धर्म के साथ में जोड़ दिया था। धर्म के साथ जोड़ने की नीम है, नीम का उपयोग है, इसका एक लगाने पंचवटी का पेड़, हमने कह दिया पंचवटी 5 तरह के पेड़ लगाओ। उनके अलग अलग प्रयोग थे। हर चीज के पीछे एक साइंटिफिक, एक वैज्ञानिक आधार हुआ करता था। हम लोग अपने वहां नवग्रह पूजा करते थे। अब नवग्रह पूजा करते थे, अब आज पता चल रहा है हम तो 50,000 साल से जो भारत की संस्कृति कहते हैं कि लाखों करोड़ साल पुरानी संस्कृति हमारी है। हम हमेशा कहते थे ग्रह, ये मंगल ग्रह का पूजन है, ये चंद्र ग्रहण आएगा, ये चंदा मामा। हम उनको मामा जरूर कहते थे, लेकिन उनके बारे में हमारे खगोल शास्त्र जो था भारत का वो बहुत बहुत आधुनिक था। इसलिए भारत आज चंद्रमा के साथ साथ सूर्य पर भी पहुंच रहा है। दक्षिण ध्रुव पे जहां कोई नहीं गया तो वहां पर पहुंच रहा है। विज्ञान ने प्रगति की है, लेकिन हमने इसके पहले ही प्रगति की थी। संजय धृतराष्ट्र के महामंत्री थे और वो बैठे बैठे हस्तिनापुर से कुरुक्षेत्र का युद्ध का वो वर्णन करते थे। यानी लाइव टेलीकास्ट की व्यवस्था पहले कुछ ना कुछ रही होगी। ध्वनि के हिसाब से आवाज को सुनकर अर्जुन बाण मारते थे, कर्ण तीर चलाते थे। यानी वो मिसाइलों के तरह था कि जमीन पे कर दिया तो पानी निकल गया, एक तीर मारा तो आग वहीं पर जाके गिरा जहां पर उन्होंने निशाना साध के मारा था। तो ये तमाम विज्ञान ने प्रगति हमारे हजारों साल पहले करी है। आज हम उसी विज्ञान के आधार पर अपनी जीवनचर्या को निर्धारित करना चाहते हैं। तो मैं समझता हूँ बहुत समसामयिक ये विषय है और इस विषय में आज जलवायु परिवर्तन हमारे लिए अभिशाप भी है, हमारे लिए वरदान भी है। हम वरदान मान के इसको अपने संतुलन को स्थापित करने की तरफ सद प्रयत्नों को लेकर आगे बढ़ सकें। डॉक्टर चौरसिया साहब को मैं साधुवाद दूंगा। ये समय समय पर विभिन्न पहलुओं को दर्शाने के लिए सामाजिक विषयों को भी लेते हैं और विज्ञान और कृषि पर आधारित तमाम विषयों का इनका जो सामंजस्य है वो मैं समझता हूँ सराहनीय है। मुझे दूसरे कार्यक्रमों में जाना था, इसलिए मैंने इनसे निवेदन किया था कि आज मुझे जल्दी जाना होगा। आपने उसी हिसाब से जल्दी अपने कार्यक्रम का समायोजन किया। मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि आपने मुझे बुलाया। बहुत धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद सर। नाउ वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव लेक्चर विल बी डिलीवर्ड बाय डॉक्टर छेदीलाल, सीनियर साइंटिस्ट ICR CSSRI रीजनल रिसर्च स्टेशन लखनऊ। प्लीज कमांड अस।
Good afternoon. The topic which I am going to cover right now is heavier slightly, not impossible to digest and assimilate, but you have to be very attentive. It will be much easier to understand the topic if you have knowledge of agriculture, a bit about the astronomy, and spiritual as well. So the name of the title of my presentation is A Need for Sanatan Vedic Agriculture Yoga for Ever Sustainability. I start with the shloka from the Shiv Sutra, which says, Vishmayo hi yoga bhumika swapadam shakti vitarka atma jnanam lokanandam samadhi sukham. If you are looking this world with astonishment, अगर इस संसार को आप विस्मय से देख रहे हैं outward, then you are going to develop science. And if you are looking yourself with astonishment or with Vishmaya, then spiritualism is going to evolve. So the topic, it combines both. You are looking inwards and outward and then putting it towards, and then you will see, you will watch that everything is in a cyclic form, not like a circle, but in helix form. It is rotating and also moving forward in the forward direction. That is Sanatan. Sanatan, the term of Sanatan means ever evolving. जो नित्य विकासशील है उसको सनातन कहते हैं. So I start with this sutra. Kal, not the time. Time is one trait of the Kal. Kal is the first foremost trait of consciousness, Chetana. The second trait of Kal is realization of consciousness in sequential order. That is called as Anukramana. Third and extremely important trait of the Kal is the ability to confine or shaping is known as Vishraman. The power which transformed the Brahm into the particles form. That is Vishnuman. You know, Vishnu Sabd is derived from that one. The fourth trait of the consciousness is the reversing first three traits to the singularity known as Big Crunch, Brahma Pramuchayan. So these are the four traits of the Kal. Means one has to have some understanding of time and Kal as well. Kal appears into being through Big Bang, Paramasphot, Big Bang, Paramasphot, fed by appearing space. Big Crunch ends up in black holes in form of superconscious Brahm. Continuation of Big Bang and Big Crunch is exhalation and inhalation of superconscious universe. So this universe is breathing, superconscious breathing, inhaling and exhaling in that term. So it is continuously oscillating. It has a cycle. ब्रह्मैव सर्व चैतन्यम व्याप्तम सर्वत्र एको ही सनातनो असंगिनः कालो ही गुणो एको चैतन्यस कर्म धर्मस्तु सगुणो तथा परो ब्रह्म is all conscious, infinitely extensive, ever evolving and universally alone. Time is a trait of Kal and Kal is characteristic of consciousness, and second characteristic is the sequential order of the matter. महास्फोट सांकौचम ब्रह्मो श्वासो प्रश्वासो शाश्वतम तु विज्ञान वेद गम्यम ब्रह्म परम चैतन्यम समष्टि विश्वचित एकग्रम. Big Bang and Big Crunch are the eternal inhalation and exhalation of Brahm. Conscious Parbrahm can be understood only through the science and Ved, which is the pointed apex. Veda is, what is Veda? Veda is pointed apex singularity of the universal collective consciousness. That is Veda. And it changes every day.
Next speaker is Dr. S. Livio John, Assistant Professor, Department of Forest Utilization, Swat, Prayagraj, UP.
Good afternoon, everyone. Initially, I would like to ask one question. In fact, our honorable chief guest has asked one question, that is natural oxygen cylinder. I don't know whether you could infer what he was mentioning, he means by natural oxygen cylinder. Okay, my topic is tree or forest as a novel ecological indicator of environment and climate change. Okay, a primary concern for the change of forest ecosystem under the changing envisage the need for developing an effective system for detecting the influence of pressure factors such as change in temperature, drought, and extreme climatic events. In the current monitoring program, the biotic condition of tree health is evaluated virtually. As a result, there is a limited indication that higher ground defoliation infers physiological disturbance and reduced tree growth. The study makes it possible to apply varying methods in field conditions for easy and reliable assessment of changing climatic impacts of stress conditions. In this review, an attempt is made to bring out the most promising indicator of tree and forest health with changing climate for potential application in forest ecosystem, as well as to support the traditional virtual assessment provides vital information on the influential factors and predicting the future composition and tree diversity. The advanced tree ring is nothing but the early wood and the late wood, which made up the age of the tree, where we count the age of the tree. The advance in tree ring-based climate reconstruction past environmental over the millennium, be it at regional, spherical, or global scale, and its application in the modeling past historical climatic extreme events and linking to a larger scale climatic pattern. The tree ring could provide an extensive understanding of the climatic behavior of the past and predicts the variation trend for the future. Himalayan foothill present one of the continent's highest biodiversity, deriving from the geographic and circumstances throughout the century. The biographic characteristic of this mountain is expected to change as a result of climate change and bring about change in the species composition. Then tree line, sometimes tree line is nothing but in a mountain, the tree doesn't grow till the apex of the mountain. There's a snow line, then the tree line is there. That is, with the climate change, with the increase in temperature, the trees which are inhibited over there, with the suitability of the climate, is tend to extend uphill. Let me speak in detail. Tree line sometimes move in response to human activity, such as change in land use pattern, on a closed loop mountain tree line, where encircle the very top of the mountain are mostly isolated from human activity. It is found that tree line move up, that they are sensitive to change in climate beyond human influence. Tree temperature enhances growth above the level of this current tree line. More tree means more carbon will be removed from the atmosphere. It could also expand the habitat of forest species. However, upon movement of the tree line, reduces the area of the tundra, which put alpine species at risk of extinction and may affect the water supply to the area that relies on it. Mountain tree line are important indicator of the impact of climate change on upland ecosystem. Okay, next is climate change impact on forests. Forests occupy nearly 1/3 of the Earth's land surface, providing human and countless other species with wide range of benefits and service from ecological functions such as water and air purification to goods such as lumber and paper. But according to a recent release of the United Nations, climate change is expected to worsen over the next century as the greenhouse gas emission continues to increase, a trend that experts say will have consequences for the health of forests worldwide. Next, tree migration. In response to the climate change, some tree species will shift their range and migrate into the landscape in which they don't typically grow. Climate change can create new habitat for tree species and make extending habitat unsuitable, and like any other living thing, tree goes where they can survive. This process is already underway. Next, some tree species are migrating uphill and northwards as temperature increase, while other species are migrating downhill and westwards as changing precipitation pattern creates drier condition. Species redistribution isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's possible that some trees could go extinct, especially those with very small range. So if there are species we considered about, we need to collect the seed and plant them in area where we think they will survive climate change. And coming to forest fire, climate change is creating warmer temperature, no doubt, deeper drought and drier vegetation. This condition will persist in the coming decade and lead to the increase in the extent, intensity, and frequency of wildfire or forest fire. Next, drought. With average temperature rising due to climate change, historically drier areas are likely to experience less precipitation and increases risk of long, more intense drought. Tree responds to the stress of drought by closing the stomata, the pores that lead in the carbon dioxide. This forces trees to rely on storage sugar and starch, and if they run out of those energy sources before the drought is over, they die from carbon starvation. In addition, when the tree loses too much water too quickly during the drought, air bubble can form and prevents the transportation of water from the root to the leaf, and in the process it can result in death. Next, pathogen and pests. When trees are exposed to drought and wildfires, they can become less resistant to pests and pathogen. And with climate change creating warmer, drier conditions in area across the country, forests could face increasing outbreak of pests and insect attack. Trees have less energy to defend themselves when they are stressed out of drought and other challenging conditions. They become more vulnerable to insect, fungi, bacteria, viruses, and so on. Climate change will likely expand the range of prevalence of forest pests and pathogens. The warmer temperature and the drier conditions associated with drought in particularly could increase the productive rate of certain insect pests. Next is carbon sequestration. In recent years, polluting companies, that is the factory industries, polluting companies worldwide have announced plans to utilize forest carbon offset projects to achieve a net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2050. As investors demand sustainable practice and government look to promote renewable energy technology. This project allow polluting companies to pay private landowners to capture, store, and prevent carbon dioxide from reaching the atmosphere. Landowners who participate in this project can earn carbon credits for preventing trees and then preserving trees and then sell the credit to polluting company so that they can continue to emit carbon dioxide with the exchange of balanced out emission to prevent overall increase of emission. But in addition to utilizing existing forests, some companies are purchasing the reforested land in an effort to earn even more carbon credit, a strategy that could create economic uncertainty for the forest produce industries. The price of paper, lumber, and other forest produce will likely increase in the coming decade as a result of carbon offset project, with some landowner preferring to receive yearly payment rather than several decades to harvest and sell their tree products. In addition, fewer trees may be available for logging due to wildfire, insects, and drought, creating further upward pressure in the price of forest products. Climate change and Indian forest, last paragraph, forest ecosystems are linked to the climate change problem in several ways. Standing forests are repository of carbon, and growing forests can be net carbon sink. But so conserving existing forests and creating new or denser forests help in the mitigation of global climate change. Forests also mediates other climatic processes that are being influenced by global climate change, such as rainfall. However, climatic regulation, whether global or regional, is only not the benefit that forests provide to the society. Especially in a country like India, an exclusive focus on the climatic benefit can therefore affect other forest-related benefits simultaneously. Forests are being affected by climate change, thereby influencing their ability to provide other benefits. To understand the relationship between forests and climate change in India, we begin by first inculcating the socio-economic nature of forests in general and the ongoing contestation in India over the control and management of the forests in particular. We then look at the possible role of India forests in mitigating climate change through carbon sequestration and their role in other climatic processes. Thank you very much for your time and listening patiently. Thank you.
Mr. Gyan Singh, PhD Scholar, Department of Soil and Conservation Engineering, SWAT, Prayagraj.
A very good afternoon to higher dignitaries and my colleagues. As you know all, our 70% population of India is depend on agriculture. Area of land of India is fixed 3 to 9 million hectare, but population increasing day by day. So horizontal expansion is not possible, but based on the technology, we can vertically extension of land. So just my topic is related from this key, how we can improve agriculture production. My topic is fish pond based integrated farming system model, a technological boon for the waterlogged sodic soil with unprecedented crop yield and economic returns. Introduction of large network of unlined canals under the irrigation project without proper provision of the drainage has led to widespread waterlogging, salinity, storicity in the country. Substantial salt affected area occur in the different canal command such as Sarda Sayak in UP, Tughandra in Karnataka, Indrar Gandhi Nahar Pariyojana in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, Mahi and Ukai command area in Gujarat. Continuously seepage from the canals has resulted into the rise in water table and subsurface, subsequently upward flux of the salts to surface, waterlogging, formation of the marshy land, increased soil salinity and increased biodiversity, salinization of 0.37 million hectare area in the Sarda Sayak Canal of Uttar Pradesh. Within a span of 3 decades, 1.8 million hectare area in the Indira Gandhi Pariyojana, Rajasthan, with few years of the introduction have resulted the great loss of agriculture productivity and economic of irrigation project. Use of the brackish irrigation water ground waters 32 to 84% are being utilized in different states. Many more areas with the good quality aquifers are endangered with contamination due to excessive pumping. If the preventing ameliorative attempts are not taken, the salt affected area is bound to increase from 6.74 to 16.2 million hectare by 2050. Technology for reclamation and management of salt affected areas, namely gypsum technologies, salt tolerance crop varieties, guidelines for use of poor quality water, rehabilitations of salty land through the forestry species are quite useful. Soil salinization is a global dynamic problem and is expected to increase in the future under the climate change scenarios. Rise in the sea level, impact on the coastal areas, rise in temperature, increase in the evaporation, etc. The globally 395 million hectares of soils has been reported as a salt affected long back. There are estimates showing to increasing pattern in the global salt affected areas with an area of the 1128 million hectare. According to the estimate, 20% of total cultivated and 33% of the irrigated agriculture lands worldwide are afflicted by high salinity. About 52 million hectare lands are salt affected in the South Asia. Nearly 85% area worldwide is slightly to moderate affected by high salt concentration, while the rest of 15% suffers from the severe to extreme limitation for crop cultivations. Reclamation of waterlogged salinization soils had been quite successfully, but there was no technology available for the waterlogged sodic soils of large canal command. Gypsum-based sodic land reclamation technology is not useful for reclaiming the waterlogged sodic soil due to high rate of secondary salinization. Non-availability of the gravity outlet is major constraint in the adoption of the subsurface drainage for controlling water table height and salt leaching. Pumped out water lake makes to subsurface drainage systems expensive. Land modification based integrated farming system model was found suitable for the reclamation of waterlogged sodic soil. It is of two types, namely raised and sunken bed and fish pond based integrated farming system model. In case of the raised bed and sunken bed based systems, entirely area is divided into the raised and sunken bed. Alternatively, the dugout soils of the sunken bed is used to make raised bed of a height of 1.5 to 2 meter, lowering water of 2.5 meter, sufficient to the curb secondary salinization to the minimum. The width of the elevated field bed should not exceed 25 meter. Depth of sunken bed is decided on the basis of intended crop to be the grown in it. Water, chestnut and pea, deep rice can be grown in 0.5 to 0.9 sunken bed, and depth of the sunken bed should not be sufficient enough to expose normal pH soil by 0.3 to 0.5 meter for good productivity of sunken and raised bed. Upland crops, vegetables such as sponge gourd, ridge gourd, bitter gourd, pumpkin, bottle gourd, okra, brinjal, potato, peas, sugar beet, cauliflower, cabbage, garlic, onion, spinach, corridor, radish, etc. are grown on the raised bed. Once the raised beds are reclaimed, tree plantation can be also done on the raised. Fish pond based integrated farming system model is divided into two equal parts. In half portions of the fish pond is dugout, and in half portion the elevated field bed are mainly by filled dugout soil of the pond. The depth of the pond is kept 2 meter to the harvest seepage water sufficient for 10 months of the aquifer. high pH soils of the top soil 0.5 to 0.7 meter is inverted back onto be the elevated field. Once the IFS constructed, dhecha rice, wheat, sama, moong is taken for first year and repeatedly partially and fully in the second year. Intensive vegetables are grown over the raised bed in first year. Common India crops, namely rohu, bakra, mrigal, are stocked along with the grass carps. Intensive fish farming can be initiated from the second year onwards with the pangus, mangur and other suitable fishes. To minimum cost of the digging, JCB should not hire instead of using manual laborers. Banana cultivation can be done after 5 years of the plantation. 1 hectare model has capacity to manage the internal drainage of 2 hectares of the waterlogged land. Next, a farmer obtained yield potential of okra, black gram and brinjals is different data is available here, which is water use efficiency. The waterlogged sodic soils can be reclaimed only through fish pond based integrated farming system model through proper design. Within a period of 2-year, cropping can be diversified to intensive vegetable production and intensive fish stocking. Farmer income should be given to several folds with minimum payback period of 1 to 2 years. Initially, investment of 0.5 rupee and 6 lakhs would transform 2 hectares of land to a fish pond based integrated farming system model with raised bed and pond ratio of 1:1. About 0.5 million hectare of area in UP is suffering with the twin problem of waterlogging and sodicity. FPBIFS model is technologically boon for horizontal expansion of agriculture land with unprecedented crop production in returns. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर साहब. अब हम ऐसे वैज्ञानिक को बुलाना चाहते हैं जो ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग में बहुत बड़ा योगदान दिए हैं. डॉक्टर आर.ए. राम, एक्स प्रिंसिपल साइंटिस्ट ICAR-CISH, रामानखेड़ा, लखनऊ. प्लीज कमांड अस.
Good afternoon. Namaskar. If everybody is okay, then I can make you all understand what I would like to speak in Hindi. It's okay? So I have chosen one subject, how to manage crop and kitchen waste for climate mitigation and nutritional security. जो मैं पिछले 20-22 साल से कर रहा हूँ लखनऊ में अपने घर पे, उसके बारे में बता रहा हूँ. अदरवाइज आई हैव वर्कड ऑन ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग फॉर मोर देन 2.5 decades in ICR. So एक आंकड़ा है कि crop waste and urban waste. So first I would like to speak on urban waste. जो शहरी कूड़ा है जो हम अपने किचन से देते हैं डेली, उस पर कितना एक्सपेंडिचर आता है. आपके घर से निकलता है, आदमी आता है, गाड़ी आती है, एक जगह डंप होता है, फिर उसको सेग्रीगेट किया जाता है, बड़ी बड़ी मशीनें लगती हैं. उसके बावजूद भी किसी भी शहर का 100% वेस्ट केवल 30 to 35% ही रिसाइकिल हो पाता है. बाकी आप देखते होंगे इधर उधर पड़ा रहता है. इफ़ यू गो टू एनी मेट्रोपॉलिटन सिटी इन इंडिया, एट द आउटस्कर्ट, शहर के बाहर जाएंगे, आप देखेंगे बहुत बड़ा कूड़े का ढेर होता है. और जनरली ये जो कूड़े का ढेर होता है ये वाटर रिसोर्सेज के या जंगलों के पास होता है और वहाँ से बहुत पोल्यूशन होता है. अगर उस ढेर में कहीं से आग लग गई, जनरली आप देखते होंगे आग लगती है, वो महीनों जलता रहता है. ख़ास तौर से क्रॉप वेस्ट अर्बन वेस्ट जो जलता है नवंबर टू फरवरी, क्रॉप वेस्ट जो जलाया जाता है जनरली आपके पंजाब, हरियाणा, वेस्टर्न यूपी में बहुत ज़्यादा लोग पराली जलाते हैं। उसी वजह से दिल्ली में 8 इवेंट गाड़ियों का संचालन होता है, लेकिन वो कितना खतरनाक है। कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड, मरकरी इमिशन जो भयंकर है, जिससे एस्थमेटिक लोग होते हैं। बहुत बड़े छोटे छोटे कण होते हैं आपके, पॉलीसाइक्लिक एरोमेटिक हाइड्रोकार्बन्स, जिसको आप देख नहीं सकते हैं। वो जितने भी प्राणी वहाँ पे रहते हैं, लिविंग बीइंग्स, उनके फेफड़ों में वो जमा होता है। उससे तरह तरह की बीमारियां होती है, रेस्पिरेशन रिलेटेड। दूसरा, नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड आप जानते हैं, एक सबसे बड़ा सोर्स जो ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस बोलते हैं, उसका ये मेन एलिमेंट है, और ये आपके ओजोन लेयर को अफेक्ट करता है।
थैंक यू सर। डॉक्टर श्याम जी मिश्रा, टेक्निकल ऑफिसर ICR सेंट्रल सॉइल सैलिनिटी रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट।
Thank you, Dr. Saab. My topic is reclamation and management of salt affected soil, a step ahead of sustainability पे है। तो India would be in need of about 311 million tons of food grain during 2030 to feed 1.43 billion people, which would further increase to 350 million ton by the year 2050, with a population land of 1.8 billion. Attempts are needed for expansion of agriculture and rise in crop productivity of achieving food security and sustainability in the country. Developmental activities of massive urbanization, industrialization, roads and rail networks construction are resulting in sinking of availability land for agriculture, putting tremendous pressure on agricultural lands. The horizontal expansion of agricultural land is possible by restoring the degraded land at present. Nearly 147 million hectares of land is subjected to soil degradation, including 94 million hectares from water erosion, 23 million hectares from saline alkaline acidification, 14 million hectares from water logging, flooding, 9 million hectares from wind erosion, and 7 million hectares from a combination of factors due to different factors. Restoration 26 million hectares of degraded land, including salt affected soil, to ensure food security for the people would be a step ahead to sustainability. Around 6.74 million hectare area in the country is salt affected. Every year nearly 10% additional area is getting salinized, and by year 2015 about 15% of the arable land would become salt affected. Saline soil occupy 44% area covering 12 states and 1 union territory, while sodic soil occupy 47 area in 11 states. Several innovative technologies are available for reclamation of salt affected soil: gypsum based sodic soil reclamation, subsurface drainage and water logging saline land, salt tolerant crop varieties, and improve agroforestry techniques and land modification based integrated farming system models are the well adopted technology in the country. Reclamation of 2.18 million hectares of salt affected soil, 2.07 million hectares burnt sodic soil, and 0.11 million hectares saline soil has contributed more than 70 million tons of food grain per annum to the country food basket, with additional annual income of rates 15.5 billion and employment generation of 2.8 million Mendes. Alternate land use systems, line aquaculture, cultivation of salt-tolerant crop variety, agroforestry, phytoremediation, bioremediation, etc. are other technologies of management of salt-affected soils. Agroforestry and orchard planting is Sodic Environmental had been studied at Central Soil Sciences Research Institute, Karnal, and it is regional station located in different parts of the country had shown a good result in to put sodic soil under agriculture back with last efforts. Community sodic land and undulated sodic land of farmer could be put back to the agriculture production through agroforestry and salt-tolerant orchard plantation purpose. Phosphorus jolifera has very high sodic tolerance and can grow under 10.5 pH condition well. Reclamation and management of salt affected have positively impact food and nutrient security, women empowerment, involvement of landless laborers, and minimize rural migration, etc. The ongoing constant research efforts for the management and reclamation of such soil would hopefully continue ensuring food security in the country, expecting tremendous carbon credit due to increase in organic carbon level in the reclamation soil. The government need to make policy favorable for implement of reclamation technology in the country, which would a step ahead of sustainability. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ji. I request Dr. Atul Kumar Singh, Director Horticulture, Lucknow, to kindly come over to the dais.
आज के इस सेमिनार में सबको मेरा प्रणाम। मॉडर्न अप्रोच टू स्मार्ट एग्रीकल्चर इन चेंजिंग एनवायरनमेंट के इस सेमिनार में मेरा टॉपिक है मेजर की फैक्टर फॉर बूस्टिंग हार्टिकल्चर। हार्टिकल्चर क्रॉप are the major source of income for the farmers. Horticultural crops is the major source of nutrition. In horticultural crops, basically fruit crops and vegetables, minerals, vitamins and fibers are available in our diet. Our goal is how to increase our productivity and production for getting more income. For that, major key factors are in this field is use of high quality planting material that should be free from disease and insect pest resistant. Number one is use a hybrid seeds. These seeds are bigger and give more production and give better quality. Second is seedlings which are used in vegetable production, vegetable cultivation, that should be free from disease. The seedling should be vigor in nature. This can be obtained by the produce soilless media. Nowadays, a number of high-tech nurseries are established going on in our state. Presently, 2 high-tech nurseries is established. One is Kannauj, one is Basti district. They are producing seedlings in soil-less media. They are giving more results. By using these vegetable seedlings, we can get off-season vegetable and early cropping that gives more result, more fruiting and more income from the market. Second is nowadays innovation is going on grafted vegetable seedling. In this sector, seedlings or vegetables are grafted as per the fruit plants are grafted. The same is in this grafting seedlings, root stock are very disease tolerant, and the structure of the roots zone is very strong. That is why they gives yield more, and the harvesting period of these crops are prolonged 2 to 3 times. Normally, vegetable seedlings period is 90 to 120 days. By the using of grafted seedling, we can harvest 1 year or more than 1 and 2 years, and the yield become 4 to 5 times than the traditional seedlings. Another thing, tissue culture produced planting material. Nowadays, banana is produced in tissue culture labs. A number of tissue culture labs is established in Bombay, Gujarat, and Bangalore. These we are using G9 variety. They are producing more yield and short time. In another case, potato is going to be developed by the agroponics. By using agroponics, potato seeds, they are multiplied. These potato seeds are very high yielding, disease free, virus free. In using these tissue culture planting material, they gives more result, more yield. Second approach is use of drip and sprinkler for the judicious use of water, nutrition and plant protection inputs. Third is use of advanced cropping system. We are normally using traditional system, but the advanced traditional system is sowing of planting material is raised bed. By planting in raised bed, the root system of the plants get more aeration from the soil. That is why they get more growth, more yield, getting more income. How to use mulch? It should be followed in raised bed before raising the drips. Normally we are using vegetable cultivation in traditional system, but nowadays we are involving in the farmers to produce cultivation in vertical farming. Second is machan farming. By this system, we can accommodate a more number of plants in per unit area. Latest, much development is protected cultivation. Nowadays, poly house and net house, in controlled condition, we are producing vegetables, flowers, and getting more yield per unit area and getting more income in very short time. 1,000 area of poly house, farmers are getting 5 to 6 lakh rupees per 1 year, one crop. Mostly crops are using tomato, Shimla mirch, and kheera. These are going very popular. In Lucknow, a number of farmers are using.
Thank you, sir. Akash Srivastava, M.Com Lucknow, please come.
My topic is impact of a smart approach to agriculture. A growing global population and changing diets are driving up the demand for food. Production is struggling to keep up as crop yields level off in many parts of the world. Ocean health declines and natural resources including water, soils, biodiversity are stretched critically thin. The food security challenge will only become more difficult as the world need to produce about 70% more food by 2050 to feed an estimated 9 billion people. Climate changes negatively impact are already being felt in the form of increasing temperatures, weather variability, shifting agro-ecosystem boundaries, invasion crops and pests, and more frequent extreme weather events. On farms, climate change is reducing crops yield in nutritional quality of major cereals and lowering livestock productivity. Two smart agriculture solutions to resist environment changes are: 1. Climate smart approach to agriculture practice. Climate smart practices are an important part of sustainable agriculture and a new way of managing land degradation, climate shocks and methane emissions. By using low emissions varieties, farmer can increase their yields and improve their climate resilience. Low emission varieties are more nutritious, resistant to droughts and can reduce greenhouse gas emissions, which are considered to be dangerous for people's health. The food system is responsible for generating approximately 10% of the global greenhouse gases. As the food system has been consuming fossil fuel for decades, agriculture practices have contributed to a massive increase in greenhouse gas emissions. In addition, the use of fertilizers in soil causes microbes to produce nitrous oxide emissions, a greenhouse gas 300 times more potent than carbon dioxide, which contributes to 6% of global warming. Second, investing in renewable energy. Investing in renewable energy to address climate change is a great way to help the planet while simultaneously facilitating your climate change adoptions. However, the pace of the energy transition is uneven. It is largely because of the tight supply chain and rising cost of labor and materials around the world. However, there are several factors that can create an enabling environment for climate investment, including microeconomic determinants such as functioning bureaucracy and banking system. Specifically, clean energy investment can be boosted by specific policy measures such as renewable energy targets, carbon captures, storage, and fiscal incentives. Thank you.
Dr. Ashutosh Kumar Srivastava, Assistant Professor, Plant Pathology Department.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, sir, giving me the chance to present my topic in this seminar. My seminar topic is an opinion for changing climate situation in respect to disease management. सर, बहुत सारे स्पीकर सर पहले ही बोल चुके हैं कि कौन कौन से सजेशंस हैं. मैं डिज़ीज़ मैनेजमेंट के कंसर्न में ये कहना चाहूँगा कि आज के इस एरा में हम लोग क्लाइमेट, जैसे कि ये टॉपिक है आपका, क्लाइमेट के बारे में हम लोग पिछले 10 सालों से कि क्लाइमेट पे बहुत सारे सेमिनार, बहुत सारे स्पीकर ने बहुत कुछ बोला, लेकिन हम लोग अभी भी उस चीज़ को अपना नहीं रहे हैं. मैं लास्ट 3 to 4 ईयर्स से सेमिनार में आ रहा हूँ. डॉक्टर आर्य राम सर, जोशी सर बहुत अच्छा सर टॉपिक बोलते हैं, आप लोग बहुत अच्छा बोलते हैं. डिजीज़ मैनेजमेंट की अगर हम बात करें सर, तो क्लाइमेट टेम्परेचर हाई होने की वजह से, एक्सेसिव लो होने की वजह से, ये बहुत सारे इंसेक्ट पैथोजन में जो रेसेस डेवलप हो गई हैं, जिनके कारण जो है वो मैनेज नहीं हो पा रहे हैं. उनमें रेजिस्टेंस की प्रॉब्लम बहुत आ गई है. उसके कारण जो है हम लोग नए नए टाइप के पेस्टिसाइड्स का इतना ज़्यादा यूज़ कर देते हैं, जिससे कि हमारी सॉइल हेल्थ, इकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम बहुत तेज़ी से बढ़ गई है. और उनको मैनेज करने के लिए मैं बस यहाँ पे ये सजेशन देना चाहता हूँ कि हमको, जैसे कि अभी सर ने बताया कि शहर के आसपास बहुत सारे डंप यार्ड्स हैं, उनसे जो है उनका डिकम्पोजिशन नहीं हो पाता है. हमारी क्लाइमेट जो है बहुत तेज़ी से टेम्परेचर रेज हो रहा है. और मैनेजमेंट प्रैक्टिसेस में रेजिस्टेंस वैरायटी हैं, बहुत सारे बायोलॉजिकल एजेंट हैं और बहुत सारे हमारे बायो फोर्टिफाइड क्रॉप्स हैं, जिसके द्वारा जो है हम अपनी क्या नाम इन्वायरमेंट्स को सेव कर सकते हैं, इकोलॉजी को अच्छे से हम सेव कर सकते हैं।
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Now I would like to request to Dr. जोशी जी, प्लीज कम ऑन डाइस।
सम्मानित वरिष्ठ वैज्ञानिकगण, प्राध्यापकगण और प्रतिभागी विद्यार्थियों, और सबसे पहले डॉक्टर चौरसिया साहब, जिन्होंने इस विषय पर, इस समीचीन विषय पर एक आयोजन करने का एक संकल्प लिया है। आप सब जानते हैं कि हमारा देश इस समय G20 का आयोजन कर रहा है और G20 में वो सब 20 देश सम्मिलित हैं जो विश्व की आर्थिकी का लगभग 80% नियंत्रित करते हैं। इस विषय पर जो संकल्प हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने G20 के लिए रखे हैं, उनको मैं आपके सामने व्यक्त करना चाहूँगा। पहला संकल्प ये है कि एक पृथ्वी के रूप में हरित पहल को बढ़ावा देना। अब मैं इसी पर अपने जो आगे का डिस्कशन है उस पर फोकस करूँगा। दूसरा है कि एक परिवार के रूप में समावेशी विकास को बढ़ावा देना, और तीसरा है एक बेहतर भविष्य के लिए प्रौद्योगिकी को समन्वित करना। ये 3 संकल्प हैं जो G20 के लिए हमने अवधारित किए हैं और इस पर पूरा विश्व चिंतन कर रहा है। इसके मायने यही हैं कि जो हरित पहल करने की बात कही गई है, इसका मतलब ही यही है कि आने वाले समय में जो ग्रीन कवरेज है, जो फॉरेस्ट कवरेज है, वैश्विक पर्यावरण जो है, उसको बेहतर करने की आवश्यकता है। आपको मैं आगे बताऊंगा कि इस समय जो लेवल है फॉरेस्ट कवरेज का वो क्या है। हम छोटे छोटे प्रयास कुछ भी कर सकते हैं। जो प्रयास यहाँ पर बताए गए हैं वो सब अपने में बहुत छोटे प्रयास होंगे, वो निश्चित रूप से कंट्रीब्यूट करेंगे हमारे पर्यावरण सुधार में। लेकिन जो वास्तविकता है वो ये है कि जब तक हम अपने देश में, इस पृथ्वी पर, इस धरा पर अगर वनाच्छादन नहीं बढ़ाएंगे, 33% जो होना चाहिए, अगर उस लेवल को अटेन नहीं करेंगे, उससे ऊपर भी, तो हम कुछ भी कर लें, आने वाले समय में जो बढ़ती हुई पॉपुलेशन है, जो हमारी ज़रूरियात हैं खाद्यान्नों की, जो हमारे पर्यावरणीय ज़रूरतें हैं, उनमें हम पीछे ही रहने वाले हैं। कभी हम उसको प्रतिपूरित नहीं कर पाएंगे। इसलिए अब आप सोचिए देश में क्या अलार्मिंग स्थिति है। नॉर्थ ईस्ट के हमारे स्टेट हैं जहां पर 95%, 85% फॉरेस्ट कवरेज है, और हरियाणा, पंजाब में 3% फॉरेस्ट कवरेज है। अगर फॉरेस्ट कवरेज को हमें बहुत बेहतर तरीके से मैनेज नहीं करना है, नहीं कर पाएंगे, तो हम इसमें कोई भी सुधार नहीं कर पाएंगे। और इसके लिए केवल सरकारी योजनाओं पर ध्यान देना कि सरकार ही करेगी, और वो जो है फॉरेस्टेशन का काम उनका है, रिजुविनेशन का काम भी उन्हीं का है, एवेन्यू प्लांटेशन का काम भी उन्हीं का है, घरों के बाहर पौधे लगाने का भी काम उन्हीं का है, तो हो चुका काम, हम कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे। इसको जन सहभागिता के रूप में हमें आत्मसात करना पड़ेगा। मैं पिछले सेमिनार में भी यहाँ पे आया था, मैंने सवाल पूछा था स्टूडेंट से कि आप बताइए आपने अपने जीवन में अब तक, जो आपके 25 साल हुए हैं, कितने पौधों का प्लांटेशन किया है। बहुत सारे लोग होंगे जो कहेंगे जिनका उत्तर नेगेटिव में होगा, नहीं किया है। तो ये प्लांटेशन हमें करना होगा, और इसके लिए निश्चित रूप से हमें आगे बढ़ने की ज़रूरत है। विश्व की पॉपुलेशन 788.84 करोड़ है, जो 2021 की जो अनुमान है उसके हिसाब से। अब आप सोचिए, इतनी बड़ी पॉपुलेशन के लिए अगर हमारा ICMR कहता है कि प्रति व्यक्ति प्रतिदिन स्वस्थ जीवन यापन करने के लिए आपको 100 ग्राम फल, 180 ग्राम फ्रूट एंड वेजिटेबल और 100 ग्राम रूट एंड ट्यूबर क्रॉप को खाना चाहिए। आप गुणा कर लीजिए इस इतनी बड़ी जनसंख्या के लिए, और उन देशों पर भी, और इसको बहुगुणित कर लीजिए कि जो केवल फ्रूट एंड वेजिटेबल को ही अपना मेन स्टेपल फूड मानते हैं, तो कितनी अधिक आपको हॉर्टिकल्चरल क्रॉप की, मैं केवल हॉर्टिकल्चर पे ही बोल रहा हूँ, कितनी आवश्यकता आपको होगी। हालांकि हमारे देश ने बागवानी के क्षेत्र में बहुत ज़्यादा उन्नति की है। आपको पता है पिछले 3 सालों में हमने बागवानी के उत्पादन को खाद्यान्न उत्पादन से अधिक 400 मिलियन मीट्रिक टन तक पहुंचा दिया है। लेकिन अभी भी बहुत कुछ करने की ज़रूरत, बहुत से ऐसे एरिया हैं जहां पर हमें और अधिक काम करने की आवश्यकता है। हम प्रतिवर्ष, ये पर्यावरण की बात हम कर रहे हैं, 5 जून को विश्व पर्यावरण दिवस मनाते हैं। 1973 से ये शुरू किया गया था, तो 73 से आज कितने वर्ष हो गए? लगभग 50 वर्ष हो गए। इन 50 वर्षों में पर्यावरण में हम कितना परिवर्तन कर पाए हैं, उसी से एक अंदाज़ा निकलता है कि आने वाले 50 सालों में हम कितना परिवर्तित करेंगे। और ये भविष्यवाणी बहुत बिल्कुल सिद्ध होती हुई प्रतीत होती है कि हो सकता है आपको, जैसे पानी की बोतल लेके आप चलते हैं, ऐसे छोटे छोटे ऑक्सीजन के सिलेंडर लेकर के आप चलें और आप कहें कि साहब हमें ऑक्सीजन नहीं मिल रही है, या जो श्वसन के लिए आवश्यक जो गैसेज हैं जो हमें चाहिए वो ना हमें उपलब्ध नहीं हो पा रही। ये बहुत गंभीर विषय है, इस पर चिंतन करने की आवश्यकता है। आपकी पॉपुलेशन आगे 30 साल में और बढ़ोतरी होने वाली है, आपकी खाद्यान्न की ज़रूरतें और बढ़ने वाली हैं। आपने जल संसाधनों को बिल्कुल एकदम समाप्त प्राय की तरफ है। प्रदूषण का लेवल इतना ज़्यादा है कि यमुना जी में आप दिल्ली में जाइए तो आपको लगेगा कि कोई नाला बह रहा है। हमारा कुकरेल देख लीजिए लखनऊ का। हमने प्रकृति के साथ दोहन का कोई अवसर नहीं छोड़ा है जिससे हम ये कहें कि हमने यहाँ पर क्रेडिट भी किया है। और आज आपको बता दूं, ये विश्व अब चेत रहा है, अब कार्बन क्रेडिट की बात होने लगी है। भूटान क्यों नहीं आपसे पैसा मांगेगा कि साहब मेरे यहाँ 70% वनाच्छादन है, मैं इस दुनिया को ऑक्सीजन दे रहा हूँ, आप मुझे पैसा दीजिए, मैं क्यों कर आपके लिए वन को पालूं। ये आने वाला समय की है जिसकी मांग होगी और आपको करना पड़ेगा। आज तो ये स्थिति है कि हर देश दूसरे देश पर कह रहा है कि साहब कार्बन उत्सर्जन आपका सबसे ज़्यादा है, इंडस्ट्रियल ग्रोथ आपकी सबसे ज़्यादा है, आप सबसे ज़्यादा कर रहे हैं। चाइना हिंदुस्तान को कहेगा, हिंदुस्तान अमेरिका को कहेगा, अमेरिका हिंदुस्तान को कहेगा, और इस तरह से विकसित देशों पर पूरा ठीकरा फोड़ दिया जाता है। लेकिन अब समझने की ज़रूरत है, हमें निश्चित रूप से इस पर काम करने की बात है। वनों के आच्छादन का दोहन का ये है कि 1990 के दशक तक 1780 लाख हेक्टेयर जंगल हमने समाप्त कर दिए थे। 1780 लाख हेक्टेयर 1990 दशक तक। लेकिन 2000 और 2010 के बाद स्थिति में सुधार हुआ है। हम कुछ बिगड़ैल से कुछ कमतर बिगड़ैल हुए हैं और हमारे यहाँ अब ये लेवल लगभग 47 लाख हेक्टेयर के करीब डाउन हुआ है, 1780 से 47 लाख हेक्टेयर। वनाच्छादन अगर नहीं होगा तो कोई भी चीज आप नियंत्रित नहीं कर सकते। न जल प्रदूषण को कर सकते हैं, न आप जो हिमालयी क्षेत्र हैं, जो या हमारे उच्चतर हिमालयी क्षेत्र हैं, आप एल्प्स रेंज की बात करें या किसी और की बात करें, वहाँ पे ग्लेशियरों का जो जल स्तर है वो डेप्लिसिट हो रहा है, वो कम होता चला जा रहा है। और जैसे डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा था, ऐसे ही विलुप्त हो जाएंगी सब नदियाँ जब पानी नहीं रहेगा। मैं खुद हाईलैंडर हूँ, पर्वतीय क्षेत्र का रहने वाला हूँ, मुझे पता है गौमुख का कितने की पीछे चला गया है। और अब 300 मीटर तक हाइट तक जहाँ पर पंखे की आवश्यकता नहीं होती थी, अब गाँव में भी पंखे लगने शुरू हो गए। ये चीज़ें हैं जिनके बारे में हमें विचार करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आने वाले समय में निश्चित रूप से आप अपनी संतति के लिए किस तरह का माहौल छोड़ के जाएंगे, ये अब अपने पर रखिए, अपने पर सोचिए। वर्ल्ड की एक कॉमन रिकमेंडेशन है कि 33% आपका जो कुल टोटल जोग्राफिकल एरिया है वो वनाच्छादन से आच्छादित होना चाहिए।
I am glad to invite Dr. A.K. Singh, ex-principal scientist, CISH Rahman Kheda, Lucknow.
Honorable Chairman and organizing person of this seminar, Dr. Chaurasia ji, ex-director Dr. Joshi ji, present director Dr. Atul ji, Dr. Chedilal ji, Dr. Ram, and dignitaries present over here, and dear audience. Actually, I will talk about today regarding conservation of horticulture. In horticulture, particular fruit crops. In fruit crops, particular underutilized fruit crops. Then question is this: what is underutilized fruit crops? If you people are related with the horticulture, fruit crops, then we can say about the underutilized fruit crops are those fruit crops which are having high nutritive value and economic return, but they are growing in less areas. That is underutilized fruit crops. What is that underutilized fruit crops? That underutilized fruit crops are jamun. In present scenario, jamun is one of the important underutilized fruit crops. Bale is also comes under underutilized fruit crops because that is also not growing well in large areas and having good nutritive values. And other underutilized fruit crops are like tamarind, khirni, and mahua is also comes under fruit crops. So question is this, as nowadays what we are seeing कि जैसा कि हम देख रहे हैं बहुत सारे एक्सप्रेस वे बन रहे हैं, बहुत सारे हाईवेज बन रहे हैं, तो जो स्ट्रेंथनिंग ऑफ रोड्स हो रहा है, वाइडनिंग ऑफ दिस रोड हो रहा है, तो नंबर ऑफ ट्रीज आर नाउ कट डाउन एंड दिस रेयर फ्रूट क्रॉप्स आर गोइंग टू डिसअपियर. So government is thought about this, and number of projects generated by the ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, we have to conserve these fruit crops at least in research organizations. So by that way, the interested farmers or person can get that planting materials from that institutions. So keeping in these views, our organization, Central Institute of Tropical Horticulture, Rahman Kheda, Lucknow, conserve number of germplasm of these underutilized fruit crops. So these fruit crops, I will go about in detail about this about jamun fruit crops. Since nowadays number of person about 70-60% are comes under diabetic. So jamun is one of the important fruit crops which have anti-diabetic properties. So we have deal with some projects from Department of Ayush, that is identification of this germplasm which are having very good anti-diabetic properties, and that varieties have been conserved to that institutions, that is under CISH, Lucknow. So there is need to cultivate these fruit crops by in these changing scenarios. These underutilized fruit crops is having very good characteristic. What characteristic? That is that crops can be grown in stress conditions. If you are having very less irrigation facilities, even then that can be cultivated. If you are having some stress soils like high pH soils, even then these crops can be cultivated. So वैसे तो हॉर्टिकल्चर एक ब्यूटी है, ब्यूटी हॉर्टिकल्चर में ये है कि एज पर सिचुएशन, एज पर कंडीशन, एज पर रिक्वायरमेंट वी कैन सेलेक्ट द क्रॉप्स. अगर बहुत अच्छी ज़मीन है तो हम बढ़िया मैंगो, गुआवा, पपाया ये सब बनाना कर सकते हैं. हमारे पास
इस प्रॉब्लम सॉइल्स हैं, जैसे सलाइन सोडिक सॉइल्स हैं, आंवला है, बेल है, बहुत सारे क्रॉप्स हैं जिसको कि आप ग्रो कर सकते हैं, बेर है। तो इसीलिए बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन भी इस्टेब्लिश्ड हैं कंट्री में। एरिड फ्रूट्स के लिए भी हमारा इंस्टीट्यूशंस है, सब ट्रॉपिकल के लिए हमारा इंस्टीट्यूशंस है, ट्रॉपिकल क्रॉप्स के लिए अलग इंस्टीट्यूशंस है। तो अंडरप्राइज फ्रूट क्रॉप्स में बहुत सारे क्रॉप्स आते हैं, जैसे ट्रॉपिकल एरियाज़ के लिए एवोकाडो है, गार्सिनिया है, मैंगोस्टीन है, रामबुटान है। सो देयर आर नंबर ऑफ फ्रूट क्रॉप्स आर देयर अंडर ट्रॉपिकल कंडीशंस which can be grown under tropical condition, but under our subtropical conditions where temperatures goes very low or very high, so under that condition we are having so many choice for selection of crops.
थैंक यू सर। नेक्स्ट वक्ता हैं मिस्टर मोहम्मद तासिफ तावीज़, PhD स्कॉलर, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ सॉइल एंड वाटर इंजीनियरिंग, JNKV यूनिवर्सिटी अगरतला, जबलपुर, MP।
Good afternoon, everyone. Today's my topic is sustainable agriculture production through precision irrigation management over globe. Start now. The method being used to utilize the managed water resource are changing worldwide drastically. Large number of elements associated with changing water management paradigm. Discovering a new source of supplying incorporate ecological value, incorporation of basic human demand into world water policy, and conscious breaking of conscious between water use, economic growth are component of the water use changes. Reliance on a common physical solution is under criticism. New strategies are being made to meet growing demand with expanding population without much emphasis on large scale water transfer to area. Efficiency improvement strategy could play a major role managing water resource and fulfill gap between demand supply growing with a time sustainable way. The agriculture sector alone uses nearly 90% of available fresh water supply, unavailable demand for fresh water for other sector also increasing enormously. Agriculture sector is bound to use poor quality water crop production in coming future. Precision irrigation is a application of right amount of water at right time in root zone without plant nutrients and chemical as a part of precision agriculture being explored over the globe with a great environmental advantage and long-term sustainability study are required for feasibility and practicability of variety of crop range of agroclimatic region. The advancement in the knowledge of position system, artificial intelligence, different type of sensor and computer programming, and availability of a low-cost data acquiring technique would lead in controlling the water, nutrients, and plant protection chemical in the field. The new concept of controlling of water, nutrients, plant, and new concept of the irrigation scheduling is becoming when, how much, where. Paradigm has changed from the uniform irrigation to different irrigation depth, differential plant input, investment in the field. In the future, research direction for attaining long-term sustainability of agriculture with available resources and increasing population.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर साहब। मिस्टर रविकांत पांडे, PhD स्कॉलर, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर इंजीनियरिंग।
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My topic is subsurface drip irrigation system, most suitable for precision irrigation and inputs management.
Subsurface drip irrigation system is a recent variation of drip irrigation which applies water directly into the root zone without wetting surface soil, minimizing water loss due to evaporation. The irrigation efficiency is as high as 98 to 99%. Thus, there is possibility of water loss of only 1 to 5%. Deep percolation losses can be practically eliminated. Residual moisture loss after the harvest is also almost zero. The frequency of irrigation may be as high as 4 to 5 times, hence it is computer controlled automated system. Once installed in the field, labor requirement reduces to much less than the surface irrigation system. It is adaptable to any field size and shape except for rolling topography where system cost may increase. No hindrance to field operation as it is completely buried. Water, inputs and chemicals can be applied several times a day in small quantity matching the crop requirement. Significant yield increase had been reported for vegetables. Rate of application of water is quite low. A small pump could be used for maintaining desired pressure in supply line. Energy cost for pumping and field operation remains at the lowest level compared to the other irrigation systems. It has been estimated that around 20% of the world's aquifers are over abstracted and groundwater dependent ecosystem under threat. Groundwater use for irrigation is significant and increasing. Currently in India, about 60% of the cultivated area is irrigated by groundwater. This indicates that as groundwater overexploitation became severe, agricultural production declined and the overall economic future of regions became uncertain. Based on Central Groundwater Board data of nearly 5,900 wells in India experienced significant depletion in groundwater storage, while districts with significant decrease in groundwater are located in the Indo-Gangetic Plain, Northwest and Central region. A few districts in Punjab show substantial decline in groundwater table, with depletion occurring at a rate of 91 cm per year. Punjab has been witnessing a steep decline in groundwater table since 1996. In northwestern India, the amount of groundwater extracted exceeds the total recharge, leading to groundwater depletion. In Uttar Pradesh, out of 820 number of blocks in state, 111 number were under the overexploited category, 68 critical, 82 semi-critical and 559 under the safe category in 2011. Agriculture section would be facing crisis of water shortage in coming years. Subsurface drip irrigation system has potential to save appreciable percentage of irrigation water and avert the precipitating water crisis in the country. As per the CPCB report published in 2021, sewage generation from urban areas is estimated about 72,368 millions of liters per day, whereas the total treatment capacity available is 31,841 MLD, that is 44% of the sewage generation. Irrigation with sewage or sewage mixed with industrial effluents results in saving of 25 to 50% of nitrogen and phosphorus fertilizer and leads to 15 to 27% higher crop productivity over the normal waters. It is estimated that in India about 73,000 hectares of peri-urban agriculture is subject to wastewater irrigation. In peri-urban areas, farmers usually adopt year-round intensive vegetable production system or other perishable commodity like fodder and earn up to 4 times more from a unit land area compared to fresh water. Major crops being irrigated with wastewater are cereals. Rice and wheat are being irrigated with sewage water at several locations in India. Vegetables. In the near vicinity of large cities, various vegetables are irrigated with wastewater. Vegetables like cucurbits, eggplant, okra, and coriander in the summer, spinach, mustard, cauliflower, and cabbage in the winters are commonly irrigated by sewage if other sources are limiting. Flowers, rose, jasmine, and marigold are being irrigated with sewage water around the large cities. Farmers in near Kanpur grows roses and marigold with wastewater. Avenue trees and parks. Secondary treated wastewater is used to irrigate public parks and avenue trees. Fodder crops such as berseem and paragrass. Agroforestry, sapota, guava, coconut, mango, arnut, teak, neem, banana, ramphal, curry leaf, pomegranate, lemon, galimara, mulberry, etc. are irrigated with wastewater. Sewage water has a lot of nutrients with several associated problems. One such problem is presence of dangerous pathogens in sewage water. Surface irrigation method is not suitable for sewage water irrigation at all except for some cereal crops at distant places due to off smell. End users and field workers are at great risk of sewage water exposure. Raw vegetables or salad irrigated with sewage water are completely unsafe. Other vegetables too have high risk of contamination of pathogens due to contact of the produce with sewage water. Subsurface drip irrigation is the most suitable and safe method for sewage irrigation for all crop categories. Risk of excess runoff generation due to high rainfall is minimized with resulted high storage in surface soil. It is safest method of irrigation for human and environment for long-term sustainability. Subsurface drip irrigation is an essential element of precision agriculture which would avert associated future crises with water scarcity, quality and environmental issues. Thanks to all.
Thank you. Dr. Jaskaran Singh, Assistant Professor, Horticulture Department.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am going to give my speech on topic potential impact of climate change on post-harvest quality of fruit and vegetable. Climate on Earth has changed many times during the existence of four planets, ranging from the ice age to period of warmth. During the last several decades, increased average air temperature have been reported and associated effect on climate have been debated worldwide in a variety of forums. Due to its importance around the globe, agriculture was one of the first sectors to be studied in terms of potential impact of climate change. Many alternatives have been proposed to growers aimed at minimizing loss in yield. However, few studies have addressed change in post-harvest quality of fruit and vegetable crop associated with these alternatives. Nowadays, climate change, their causes and consequences gain importance in many other areas of interest for sustainable life of Earth. This subject is, however, controversial. According to studies carried out by the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, average air temperature will increase between 1.4 and 5.8 centigrade by the end of this century, based on modeling techniques that incorporate data from ocean and atmospheric behavior. The possible impact of this study, however, are uncertain since processes such as heat, carbon, and radiation exchange among different ecosystems are still under investigation. Less drastic estimate predict temperature increase rate of 0.08 centigrade per decade for this century. Other investigators forecast for the near future that rising air temperature could induce more frequent occurrence of extreme drought, flooding, or heat waves than in past. Higher temperature can increase the capacity of air to absorb water, vapor, and consequently generate a higher demand for water. Higher above transpiration in research could lower or deplete the water reservoir in soil, creating water state in plant during dry season. For example, water state of great concern in food production because trees are not irrigated in many production areas around the world. It is well documented that water state not only reduce crop productivity but also tend to accelerate food ripening. Exposure to elevated temperature can cause morphological, anatomical, physiological, and ultimately biochemical changes in plant tissue, and as a consequence can affect growth and development of different plant organs. These events can cause drastic reduction in commercial yield. However, by understanding plant tissue physiological response to high temperature, mechanism of heat tolerances, and possible to study to improve yield, it is possible to predict reaction that will take place in different steps of fruit and vegetable crop production, harvest, and post-harvest. Besides these in temperature and its associated effect, climate changes are also a consequence of alteration in the composition of gaseous constituents in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide, ozone concentration in the atmosphere are changing during the last decade and are affecting many aspects of fruit and vegetable crop production around the globe. Carbon dioxide concentration are increasing in the atmosphere during the last decade. The current atmospheric CO2 concentration is higher than at any times in the past. Ozone concentration in the atmosphere is also increasing. Even low level of ozone in the vicinities of big cities can cause visible injury to the plant tissue as well as physiological alteration. The above mentioned climate change can be potentially cause post-harvest quality alteration in fruit and vegetable crops. Although many researchers have been addressed climate change in the past and in some cases focus post-harvest alteration, the information is not organized and available for the post-harvest physiologists and food scientists that are interested in better understanding how these changes will affect their areas of expertise. In the present article, we review how change in the ambient temperature and level of carbon dioxide and ozone can potentially impact the post-harvest quality of fruit and vegetable crops. Harvest of fruit and vegetable crop occur in different times of the year depending on the cultivar, water regime, climate condition, pest control, cultural practice, and exposure to direct sunlight, temperature, management, and maturity index, among other important pre-harvest factors. After crops are harvested, respiration is major process to be controlled. Post-harvest physiologists and food scientists do not have many options to interfere with the respiratory process of harvest commodities, since they are largely depend on the product specific characteristics. In order to minimize undesirable changes in quality parameters during the post-harvest period, grower and entrepreneurs can adopt a series of techniques to extend the shelf life of perishable plant species. Post-harvest technology comprises different methods of harvesting, packaging, rapid cooling, storage under refrigeration, as well as modified atmospheric storage, controlled atmospheric storage, and transportation under controlled conditions. Among other important technologies, this set of strategies is of paramount importance to help growers all over the world to withstand the challenges that climate change will be imposed throughout the next decade. Fruit and vegetable growth and development are influenced by environment factors. During the development, high temperature can affect photosynthesis, respiration, equation, and membrane stability, as well as level of plant hormone and primary and secondary metabolites. Most of the physiological processes go to on normally in temperature ranging from 0 to 40 centigrade. However, cardinal temperature for the development of fruit and vegetable crops are much narrow and depending on the species and ecological origin. It can be pushed toward the 0 centigrade hot temperature species from cold regions such as carrot and lettuce. On the other hand, they can reach 40 centigrade in species from tropical region, such as many cucurbits and cactus species. A general temperature effect in plant involves the ratio between the photosynthesis and respiration. High temperature can increase the rate of biochemical reaction catalyzed by different enzymes. However, above a certain temperature threshold, many enzymes lose their function, potentially change plant tissue tolerant to heat stress. Temperature is also a paramount important in establishment of a harvest index. The higher the temperature during the growing season, the sooner the crop will mature. And other reported that some scientists reported that lettuce, celery, cauliflower, and kiwi grown under temperature mature earlier than the same crop grown under the lower temperature. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Arnav Yadav, PhD scholar.
My topic is transgenic, a novel technique to breed future crops. Transgenic technique describes the process of introduction of foreign DNA into a unrelated host organism. Actually, पहले क्या होता था कि जैसे किसी ऑर्गेनिज्म में ब्रीडिंग करनी रहती थी, जैसे वीट की ब्रीडिंग करनी है हमें, तो उससे रिलेटेड जैसे वाइल्ड स्पीसीज से ही करा दिया तो हमारा हो जाता था। और हम जैसे बैक्टीरिया से या फिर वायरस से या फिर अब जैसे ह्यूमन से आप वीट में कहेंगे कि जीन डालना है तो वो नहीं, मतलब आपको लगेगा इम्पॉसिबल चीज़ है। लेकिन ट्रांसजेनिक के थ्रू हम अब ये कर सकते हैं, प्लांट्स से ह्यूमन में आ सकता है। तो अपने आप में ये टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत ही बड़ी टेक्नोलॉजी है और फ्यूचर में इसका स्कोप भी बहुत ज़्यादा है। और इन्वायरमेंट से इसका कैसे रिलेशन है कि जैसे इन्वायरमेंट चेंज वैसे तो हमेशा से होता आया है, जब से अर्थ बनी है 4.5 बिलियन ईयर्स से, जब से भी अर्थ बनी है इन्वायरमेंट चेंज प्रोसेस है, चेंज तो होता ही रहेगा। लेकिन अभी क्या हुआ है, बस रेट उसका थोड़ा बढ़ गया है चेंजेस का। तो अगर रेट बढ़ गया है तो हमें भी क्या करना है, कुछ ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी करनी है कि उसी रेट के हिसाब से अडॉप्ट कर सके। क्योंकि अब जैसे कोई क्रॉप धीरे धीरे सबका इवोल्यूशन धीरे धीरे हुआ है, लेकिन अगर हमें अब जैसे तुरंत इन्वायरमेंट चेंज हो रहा है तो तुरंत अडॉप्ट करने के लिए हमें ऐसी कुछ क्रॉप्स बनानी पड़ेंगी जो तुरंत आपके काम में आ सके। इसके लिए ट्रांसजेनिक टेक्नोलॉजी जो 70-80 के दशक में धीरे धीरे स्टार्ट हुई थी, अभी तो काफ़ी कुछ आगे बढ़ गई है। इंडिया में 2002 में बीटी कॉटन आई थी, उसके बाद से अभी तक कोई क्रॉप रिलीज़ नहीं हुई है, क्योंकि इसके थोड़े से बायोलॉजिकल और जीन पूल ड्रिफ्ट का भी इफेक्ट माना जाता है। लेकिन मुझे लगता है फ्यूचर में इसका काफ़ी कुछ यूज़ होने वाला है।
थैंक यू। Dr. Victor Dev Verma, Assistant Professor, Department of Agronomy, SWAT, Prayagraj.
I am very much thankful to Dr. Indrar Chaurasia sir Chairman UKS for giving me this time to present the paper topic on organic farming for sustainability and productivity under changing environment. As we all know that organic agriculture is a holistic production management system which promotes and enhances agro-ecosystem health, including biodiversity, biological cycles, and soil biological activity. An organic production system is designed to enhance biological diversity within the whole system, increase soil biological activity, maintain long-term soil fertility, recycle wastes of plant and animal origin in order to return nutrients to the land, thus minimizing the use of non-renewable resources, rely on renewable resources in locally organized agricultural systems, promote the healthy use of soil, water, and air, as well as minimize all forms of pollutions that may result from agricultural practices. Organic agriculture is not only a specific agricultural production system, it is also a system and encompassing approach to sustainable livelihoods in general, where due accounts is given to relevant factors of influence for sustainable development and vulnerability, be these on physical, economics, and socio-cultural levels. As we know that continuous uses of synthetic and or inorganic fertilizer leads to deteriorations of soil chemicals and physical properties, biological activities, and thus in general the total soil health, leading to unsustainable crop productivity and environmental quality over the years. IFORM OI has defined organic farming with 4 principles, that is the principle of health, principle of ecology, the principle of fairness, and principle of care. All these principles focus on maintaining ecological sound agriculture. Organic farming is practiced for adaptations, sustainability, and productivity. It reveals that environmental change and agriculture are closely linked and interdependent. Compared to conventional agriculture, organic farming is reported to be more efficient and effective both in reducing greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide emissions, mainly due to the less use of chemical fertilizers and fossil fuels. Organic farming also reported to be climate change resilience farming system, as it promotes the proper management of soil, water, biodiversity, and local knowledge, thereby acting as a good options for adaptations to changing environment. Additionally, organic farming offers alternatives to energy-intensive production inputs such as synthetic fertilizers, which are likely to be further limited for poor rural populations by raising energy prices. In developing countries, organic farming systems achieve equal and even higher yields as compared to current conventional practices, which translate into a potential important options for food security and sustainable livelihood for the rural poor in times of changing environment. Certified organic produce or products cater for higher income options for farmers and therefore can serve as promoters for climate-friendly farming practices worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dev Burma. Next speaker is Ravi Pratap, PhD scholar, horticulture.
Good afternoon, everyone. My topic is smart agriculture for sustainable agriculture production. As the global production continues to grow, the agriculture section faces unpredictable challenges to meet the increasing demand for food, fiber, bioenergy, while simultaneously minimizing the environmental impact and conservation natural resources. Smart agriculture, often referred to as precision agriculture, emerging as a transformative solution to address these challenges and ensure sustainability production in the 21st century. The essence of the smart agriculture as a multidisciplinary approach that leverages cutting-edge technologies such as the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, remote sensing, and data analytics to optimize farming practices. By integrating real-time data from various sources, including weather stations, soil sensors, drones, satellites, smart agriculture empowers farmers with actionable insights, enabling them to make informed decisions regarding irrigation, fertilization, pest control, and crop management. Smart agriculture's key objectives are to enhance resource efficiency, increase crop yields, reduce environmental impact, and improve the overall economic viability of farming operations. Through the precision application of resources and the implementation of data-driven strategies, farmers can minimize water and energy consumption, reduce chemical uses, and mitigate soil degradation, leading to improved sustainability and resilience in agriculture. Furthermore, smart agriculture fosters the development of innovative farming techniques such as vertical farming, aquaponics, hydroponics, which involve year-round cultivation and reduce land uses. These techniques, in combination with automated machinery and robotics, contributing to labor saving and promotes agriculture sustainability by obtaining land and resource utilization. Smart agriculture explores the broader in addressing food security, climate change mitigation, and rural development by harnessing technologies. Smart agriculture has the potential to bridge the digital-derived agriculture, ensuring the smallholders, farmers in the both development and the developing nations can benefit from the data-driven insights in sustainable practices. In conclusion, smart agriculture represents a paradigm shift in modern farming practices, offering a holistic approach to sustainable agriculture production. By leveraging advanced technologies and data-driven strategies, making it has the potential to significantly increase agriculture productivity while minimizing environmental impact, contributing to global food security, and fostering a more sustainable future for agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it is award session. Dr. Esilio John, Dr. Shyamji Mishra, Mr. Ravikant Pandey, Mr. Mohammad Tawiz, Mr. Gyan Singh, Mr. Arnav Yadav, Mr. रवि प्रताप, आदि कुमार वाल्मीकि, MSc एग्रीकल्चर हॉर्टिकल्चर, परसुइंग CBG एग्रीकल्चर PG कॉलेज BKT लखनऊ, बेस्ट थीसिस इन MSc एग्रीकल्चर हॉर्टिकल्चर. Thank you to everyone who worked hard to make this seminar possible, and thank you to all of you for being here today.